I was asked a question the other day by a teenager and it hit different. So I'm actually going to step back. I'm going to ask the one and only Mr. Brian Adamson the exact same question, and we're going to talk about it. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great, man.
So I was at an event over the weekend, and I was talking about real estate and building wealth and all of those things. And this young man, he had to be 18 or 19. He was just out of high school, just graduated, and he was a little shy, a little introverted. So he waited till the line was down, and he basically came up to me and asked, "Is chasing money the wrong goal?"
Mm.
And I don't know that I've ever been asked that question. Certainly wasn't a question I was expecting. And when you really think about it, or at least when I think about it, I actually have two very different answers that come to mind. Brian, I want to ask you, you're at an event, young man comes up to you, young woman comes up to you and says, "Hey, Brian, is chasing money the wrong goal?" What do you think?
So, Mike, as you know, much of my life and business is rooted in the Bible, right? Because I believe that it is the truth, and it's not my truth, your truth, his truth, her truth. For me, I believe that's the truth. And so I want to build my foundation on it. Okay. And
Okay.
there's a scripture in the Bible, Matthew 6:33, that says, "Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added."
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Could you translate that for me, please? Because I did.
100%, 100%. So seek ye first the kingdom and its righteousness. Okay. So God gave us all dominion over a specific assignment in life. Okay. And that's why there's no such thing as competition. God specifically has ordained a specific thing for you to do in life. And in that thing, he's giving you provision of who's going to help you accomplish that thing. Okay. Whether that
Okay.
be resources to align yourself with, whether it's people you need to sell stuff to, it doesn't matter. Okay. And so if you seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, which means that I'm seeking to serve.
Mm.
If I get up every day and I'm seeking to serve the thing, the environment that God has given me dominion over, then all these things will be added.
Mm. Okay.
So the problem that most of us have, and I'm sure you probably have had at different points in your life, is that we seek the things, which is essentially what the kid was asking, right? It's funny
Right.
that I call him a kid now at 18, 19, right? But but essentially that's what he was asking was,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with seeking the things. And it's like, based on the world, no, that the world would tell us exactly what you should do. Scripture says, though, seek
Uh,
ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will then be added. And
okay.
so I've gone down a path of seeking things first. And guess what? Sowing and reaping is principle, not just biblical. So if you
Mhm.
sow enough seed, you will reap a harvest.
True.
The kicker is, though, the quality of the seed that you sow will be indicative of the harvest that you reap. And
Very true.
so I've gotten there, right? The first goal was to become a millionaire, right? Did that many years ago. And after making $1 million in a year multiple times, I was like, I still feel empty.
Mm.
And particularly because I was doing things with people that I necessarily didn't want to do them with. So I wasn't
Okay.
getting equipment from that. It was almost gut wrenching a lot of the time to be around these people because we didn't align in terms of core values and beliefs and all the rest of it. But yet we just came together for the purposes of making money. And it
Mm.
was just really unfulfilling, and it would be tiresome every time that I had to be in this environment. But the payoff was such that I endured it for the sake of it. But it's still,
Mhm.
the end result was, now I got all this money. I've chased the money, as the kid would have intimated, but yet still I feel empty. So the only way in which I've been able to get the fulfillment in life is when I stop chasing the money and I start seeking to serve. Seek ye
Mm.
first the kingdom and his righteousness. And then God started to still add all the things to my territory.
Yeah, I love all of that. Obviously, not as deep in scripture as you are, so I appreciate that. Appreciate the transition. So when I caught that question, and it's always fun to get a new question, right? Because a lot what you and I get are kind of the same versions of the same question, so you kind of have the same answer. This one hit different. So I I had to admit, from the age of 13 to 45, everything I did in life was chasing money. That's all I did, is I chased money. I why did I go to college? To me, it meant more money. Why did I get an MBA? More money. Why did I go from accounting to consulting? More money. Why did I go from consulting to sales? More money. Why did I go from pre-sales to sales direct? More money. Sales to management? More money. That's all I did. And the reason I did that, right or wrong, is during my youth, money was the thing that caused pain. If we had no money, it was painful, both physically and mentally, in my household. When we had money, it was joyful and fun. Unfortunately, it was probably 80-20 in my childhood. 80% no money, 20% having money. So I was literally beaten into believing that having money was the thing that led to joy. So I freely admit that I chased it for, I don't know, what is that, 33 years straight. Never wavered, always hungry, always willing to do more, always just, always, always, always. I get to 45. I have that moment of that epiphany that I have enough suddenly. I went to work not thinking that and left going, okay, we're done. And then I was left empty because the chase was done. I had gotten to the point where enough was it. And I was, I got depressed, not having that passion, that drive, that energy. And over time, I got to the point where I started chasing impact because money wasn't the thing. And I could tell you today, now 6, almost 7 years later, I am the happiest I've ever been. So it was tough for me to kind of reiterate that to the 18-year-old, but I had to tell him, honestly, I chased money for 25 years. I wasn't happy, but I was successful if money was the goal. Um, so it's a tough balancing act. I mean, to me, again, the only thing to me, it kind of feels like seasons. I had a season where I was chasing money, 25-year season. I mean, like every day for 25 years. And then out of happy accident, I realized that impact was more fun. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It makes perfect sense because Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, right? Which is chasing impact, serving people for the purposes of impacting their lives. And then all these things will be added.
mm,
So the reason why you and I both had a very similar experience, I started chasing money at 12. My first job was sweeping up here in a barbershop at 12.
mm,
And I chased money all the way until really 35. I started to get the epiphany. I was coming out of it probably 36, 37. Is that last season of making like $1 million years back up, but drinking just as much, just as empty, all the rest of it.
yeah.
And that's when the scripture started to resonate with me more than ever. Not one would think, but if you chase an impact, then how do you get paid? And it's like, but the scripture promises that though.
Yeah, it's really weird.
You know what I
Uh,
mean? Like it really
yeah.
does. Think about how much money we make effortlessly just based off the impact that we make. Okay. I just last week, the wildest thing happened to me, Mike. This has never happened to me ever. Okay. So we just had two students come into our program, husband and wife, and they reached out. They're coming to town from the DMV area. They asked, could we go to lunch? I get these asked all the time. This particular one, I was like, yeah, sure. So we go out to lunch, and while we're at lunch, he's telling me the timeline over the last 60 days of things that I've been doing that's been impacting his life in a way in which I don't even pay attention to because I'm just getting up seeking to serve every day.
Mhm.
And during that, the husband and wife wanted to sow a seed as if they were tithing essentially into me, right? Because of the impact and ministry that they see me having in the marketplace. They gave me a cashier's check, Mike, for $6,100.
Wow.
Not attached to business, not attached, nothing. So
Just
if there ever was a classic example for me to illustrate in real time what that scripture means, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. God was just saying, like, I see you.
hmm,
Keep doing more of that.
I like it. I got to look that one up.
So it's Matthew 6 and 33. It
All right.
is, it,
Matthew.
yep, 6 and 33.
Very cool.
Yeah, man. And I know a lot of the time, Mike, you know, people think that it's religious. It's not though. For me, the Bible is just an instruction manual that if you apply these things in your life, chances are you're gonna have a pretty good one. And if you don't, chances are you probably won't. And I've done it
Mm.
both ways. And I'm just saying whatever your belief system is, there's just certain principles that work. And getting up every single day as a vessel to understand that your purpose in life is to utilize your gifts and to share them with others to impact their lives in a positive way. When you figure that out, you're winning. And unless or until you do, there's never enough money. I mean, why do you think entertainers and actors and rappers and whomever amass all of this financial success, but have the worst drug issues, the worst alcohol? It's not just because they want to party that much. It's because they're trying to fill a void that they thought the money was going to fill that
Yeah.
still was not. And depending on the way in which they're impacting the world, while they may be wildly successful, is it that type of impact? Is it the change your life impact?
Hmm.
And there's something that we get as educators, whatever you want to call it. I get fed from feeding, and I know you well enough now to know you do as well. Like there's nothing
Yes.
gratifying for me than to know that something that you were able to glean from me, whether directly or indirectly, impacted your life in such a way that now your quality of life is better as a result of that.
I love it. Matthew 6 and 33. Brian, where can people find you?
Brian Adamson official on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere else.
Do yourself a favor, folks. Give him a follow. Go ahead and say hi from one rental at a time. Appreciate you, Brian.
Thank you, man.